of phonation, articulatory phonetics, origin of Varnamala as a scientific table of phonemes. Okay, because this also can be applied across languages so that we will be able to compare. If some languages, some additional sounds or some has some sounds missing as compared to Sanskrit kind of thing. So it is something like almost a periodic table among the chemical elements. We could place these sounds. Okay, these are the points from there the sounds originate, and these are the different factors by which they differ. And once you understand them, we will be able to specify what is the sound we are talking about. That is later being, of course, used to map to the meanings. Okay, so from that point of view, this knowledge is scientifically dealt with in this Shiksha Shastra. And like Panini said, we saw last time, 5 reasons: Swarataha, Kalataha, Sthanat, Prayatna, Anupradhanataha. See, some, for example, the tongue touches a particular place. Okay, so Yena Sprashati Tat Karanam, Yatra Sprashati Tat Sthanam, Yataha Utpadyate. So we have the origin, the internal and external efforts kind of. There are 3 factors that are involved. So the air column that is getting pushed up from within, from the navi onwards, through the desire of the intention of a person to express his experiences. This process follows, and then based on his background learning, he will be able to choose appropriate words and then produce the sounds related to them. Okay. This is the process of production of sound as explained in this Shastra. So this has a basis and a fundamental approach to see how sounds can be understood, and maybe across languages we can have some metrics which will help us compare. Okay. From that point of view, this is useful. And anyway, I'll just move to the next in this. Panini, we said, okay, has 5 texts that he wrote. It is the Sutra Pata, Dhatu Pata, Ganapata, Lingana Shastra and Shiksha. So there is another thing, another concept Panini has used. Certain concepts and ideas were there before Panini formulated the grammar. So he calls them as Upadeshas. And it is something like an input list, input data based on which the Shastra actually proceeds. Some of his own texts are also included into this Upadesha. That is, he initially made out those lists, the Dhatupata, Ganapata kind of lists, and then using them with the help of the Maheshwara Sutra, formulating the abbreviations, that is, the grouping of the phonetically similar sounds, he has been able to describe the language and how it actually works in formulating words, even sentences. Okay. So from that point of view, there are concepts, there are input lists called Upadesha, and they are listed in this shloka. Dhatu, Sutra, Gana, Unadi, Vakya, Linganushasana, Agama, Pratyaya, Adeshaha, Upadesha, Prakirtitaha. So here Dhatu refers to the Dhatupata, Sutra refers to the rule base of Ashtadhyaya itself, Gana refers to Ganapata. Unadi is a set of rules for certain, of course, the Westerners call them as irregular forms. Not very regularly occurring forms is fine. It is those which are special forms, which do not have this kind of a distinction, wherein we will go through all the Paninian procedure. Panini has referred to them. These are already in use, and so he is not disturbing them, but he is giving some account of how they could be understood. Then, of course, Vakya refers to the Vritti. Okay, that is, there are also apart from the sutras, the Vartikas actually offer certain suggestions, certain amendments, etc. So they also become treated as or on par with sutras itself. Linganushasana is the text for deciding the gender of words based on the last letter, penultimate letter, etc. Agama, Pratyaya, Adesha. These are 3 units that Panini has used them. That is, when 2 words combine or you form a compound word, there may be some additional letters coming in, additional varnas coming in, that is called agama. For example, now we have words like sakara coming in between, namaskara for example, namaha kritya, namaskritya kind of thing. Similarly, there could be parishkara, so kind of thing. So pari plus kara, you will have some letter coming in between. Sudagama is possible, kogagama is possible, like that. So there could be some additional sounds coming up when we combine words or form sentences, compound words, etc. Those are called agama. Okay, that is that which comes up additionally. Pratyayas are in general the affixes. Affix is one word that Katre uses. It includes three types of them. That which can come before, called as prefix, that which comes in the end, called as suffix, and those which come in between, called as infix. So there are three kinds of places where the suffixes can get added, the affixes can get added. So they are actually bringing in new meaning. That is, Rama plus Su makes it Ramaha. The Su as a pratyaya, there are 21 pratyayas for those table in the nouns. That is, each vibhakti, each vachana has got a pratyaya or an affix, which when added adds a meaning. Okay, that is, Rama is the base. We are referring to a person called Rama. If you say Su, then we are referring to his name in singular. Au, just, out, just, those kind of things which tell you in which case and in which number are we referring to that object denoted by the stem. So which means we are able to understand from him, to him, in him kind of meanings, call him kind of when we say he becomes the object. So to modify the properties of the base, these affixes are used. So pratyaya, the word itself actually means gives you additional knowledge, additional information about the subject being talked about. Pratiyate anena iti pratyaha. So the pratyayas could be of various types, wherever they get added, before, in between, and then. Pratyayas are all listed by Panini. Sup pratyayas make words into nominal words, that is, they are called subanta, ending in one of the pratyayas belonging to sup list. Similarly, thing is one set which is appended to dhatus, which make the words become verbs. Okay. Similarly, krit is one set of suffixes which has specifically some functional aspect added to the dhatu, some karaka relation added to the dhatu meaning. Of course, later on we will also to the krit pratyayas, we will be adding sup pratyayas. They also becomes nouns, but they have some additional meaning. They are called as primary derivatives kind of thing. Then there are also tadjita kind of pratyayas where on the nouns we can have, like we discussed one or two earlier cases, Dasharatha's son, we call him as Dasharathi. Bhrugu's son, call him as Bhargava. So the word itself, a single word has two meanings, one base meaning and modification or an additional transformational property. Together, of course, that conveys an additional meaning. It's not treated as just proper noun. Okay? So from such cases, the pratyayas are of different types, and Panini has used many of those pratyayas. They are also treated as upadeshas. That is, these are givens, and from them we combine and make the words, sentences, discourses, etc. So the language contains these basic elements used in the grammar so that it is standardized, it is easily understood, and it is brief. Adesha is again something that is a substitute. In place of one, another word is substituted. Like N Sandhi, when we see E is replaced by Ya, when this E is followed by A in continuous usage. Like Sudhi plus Upasya becomes Sudjupasya. So that is an Adesha. In place of something, something else comes. So Agama is an addition over and above the LHS and RHS set of sounds. Whereas Adesha is either the left one or the right one changes to something. Okay, so it is something like addition or substitution, changing, transformation kind of. And pratyayas are of course common to both. These are called as upadesha. So Panini has tried to formulate the rules using certain base set of groups of elements, and from them, of course, he has also written how to use this or how to understand the rules which deal with this. That is the paribhasha, kind of Panini's own meta language, which tries to help us. We can have get it checked for consistency if you want. Whether Panini has used this for the paribhashas himself properly, yes, that has been checked and we find this helpful. He has also seen to it that it is a good standard to understand things uniformly by everybody. So dhatu and ganapathas are lists, okay, lists of verbal roots and nominal stems with specific affixal property. Sutra includes the 8 chapters of Panini's rule based. Shiva Sutra is one Sutra. In Unadi Sutra, Fit Sutra.
One question.
Yeah.
One question, Sai here.
Yeah.
So the samjnas are not part of the Upadesha.
No, samjnas are created by him. See, what he tries to take is something which is, but many of these pratyayas were pre-Paninian, is what is his intention. Samnyas are created by him, Paribhasha is created by him. Say, I am going to use, I will name this way and I will use it this way. So that is his contribution basically. The Samnyas Paribhashas are done for this, that is for dhatus, for the gana, for the word used in the Ganapata. Similarly, for the Unadi Pratyayas are not his own. In fact, there are two schools of thought. One school says Panini himself wrote the Unadi Sutra, but some others hold as these were pre-Paninian, they were used by him because they are in the old, so people are familiar with them. Kind of. So what happens is, yes, his own additional new things are Samnya of what definitely he made. So that I will use this word to denote this category of things. Plus, they have to be understood in the sutra this way. That is the different vibhaktis that he uses. He gives a paribhasha for that. I will use Saptami Vibhakti to say something coming after. That is on the right side. Tasmin Nitin Nitishte Purvasya. This is a paribhasha he made. The process will be done to the left side component when the right side is a particular thing. So the condition is given to the right side. He is used with a particular vibhakti. Similarly, Tasmad Ittarasya. Onto the left side, if I do something, some process has to be done for something coming after something. Yes, Tasmad Iti, Panchavibhakti if I use, then after this you do. That means the right side will have the process done kind of. Shashti, Sthane kind of. So these, Panini has found his way of trying to organize, compress, but make them still unambiguous. For that, yes, there are certain things. Upadesha basically is something. Upadesha Adyocharanam is what has been the vritti for this. Some of them are by Panini. In fact, Sutra he includes them as Upadesha. But this Sutra, there are two ways. It could be Shiva Sutras or Astadhyayi Sutra itself. And for all purposes today, Panini Sutras are also Upadesha for us. Panini took a Sutra, it could be the Shiva Sutras alone, or Shiva Sutra, Unadi Sutra, Six Sutras, etc., which were before him. And there are sutras by him in Dhatupata and Ganapata also. Those are of course his own. But sutras is something like they were revealed, whereas the processes were thought of by him. And there are some at the level of actually understanding and disseminating, receiving and disseminating, maybe there are two levels in them. So the Samnya Paribhashas are not included in the word Upadesha. Simply because they are understood as, yes, they are created after these were, considered by him, and then he tried to formulate the sutras. Actually, sutras in general, they include the Vidhi sutras where the process is being defined. For them, what are helping are the Samnya sutras, Paribhasha sutras. Okay. They also include extension, like the Atidesas are covered in that. So, they by themselves do not add some new knowledge, whereas they are necessary to get the knowledge from the Vidhi Sutras.
So Upadesha means those who were like prior knowledge.
Some of them are Paninian also, but he says, first, initially I'll give you this, then I'll tell you how to use or explain them kind of. So from this point of view, like Dhatus, Ganas are listed by him, but he has said, first let us have this list. Now get this, and it is something like you learn from me. This is the list, this is grouped this way. Then I'll tell you how to utilize them in the word formation and understanding of word, etc. So the prior info that is required to begin with understanding Astadhyaya. So that is why in Adyocharanam, there is some sequence in which he has to tell the Shastra content. So he has begun initially with something which is necessary for all the rest of the things that follow. Okay. Yes, he has used the word, it's like Upadesha Anunasikaha it. Upadesha he has used. Upadesha meaning what? And one of these. Agamas, Pratyayas, Adesha are also Upadesha. So there are two levels in which they are said. Some are initially given to begin with. On them, a transformation is told through the sutras. So sutras themselves have certain types which are initially required. Some are of course taught as and when they become necessary or they become in the sequence. They have their place. Yeah, so Upadesha is the word which is generally to see that you be prepared with this, then you will understand what I am saying next. You will get the context clearly. That is what it actually means.
Okay, thank you.
So, of course, the Sutra Lakshana I have just written. Alpaksharam, Asandigdham, Saravate, Vishwatomukam, Astogam, Anavadyamcha, Sutram, Sutra Vido, Viduho. It should have as minimal letters as possible because it is easily then memorized. Okay, that was the idea. Asandigdham is just to compress something, you don't have to leave out something doubtful. So it should not have any doubt. Similarly, Saravat, it should have multiple effect or potency. He has used certain same thing in different chapters to mean different things. So that is something like overloading the operators that we have in computer. A single concept or a single item can be used for multiple purposes in multiple contexts with of course a clear demarcation. Okay, then it becomes Saravat. You don't have to know too many things, but the same thing, of course, where it is said can have different kinds of effect. Ishtatomukam, of course, is that this is helpful across a lot of domains. Kind of. Vyakarana is not an end in itself. It is also a tool to study, let's say, other texts. It could be Shastras, it could be Kavyas, it could be Vedic text anyway. So it has multiple applicability. Across different shakas, different Vedas, of course, he has made the distinctions. So one method, one way of understanding works for, let's say, a large number of domains or disciplines. That is another hallmark. The sutras are written in such a way. Similarly, Astobham, there is no fillers kind of thing. Nothing is used for the sake of aesthetics or whatever. It is just plain text. So sutras do not have any compulsion of meter or being your swam or things like that. They don't have to have certain number of letters, some Guru Lagu combination, etc. That is not there. Only Anavadyam. It should not be having any defects. But it should be tested thoroughly, it should be consistent. Such thing, the set of sentences or set of the sutras that he has made. So sorry. So the sutra lakshana is in general something that is very pithy, very short statement, but it has lot of potential. Plus, it also has, it avoids any defects that could be generally seen. It's not common conversation. It is not a flowery speech kind of thing. So that's what it actually means. Which means it is much easier to memorize, much easier also with the given paribhasha, samjha, etc. to also realize what they mean kind of. So yeah, from this, anyway, I will now move from the Shiksha side of Panini to the Vyakarana side. I am just giving an overview of all the 8 chapters, and each quarter there are 4 padas in every chapter. Just trying to get the kind of organization of the different subject matter, that is the language, how it shall be used, and for that, of all he has divided them. So this just as the table which says Prathamadhyaya, Prathama Pada, initially begins with Samnyas, then Paribhashas. So this is necessary. You list out your technical terms of the language and you will say how are they to be understood if they occur in a sutra. Okay, Samnya are the technical terms, Paribhashas are the meta rule kind of thing. How do you understand the rules? It's a self-contained way of reading the rules. So the first adhyaya, first pada with 75 sutras is predominantly containing Samnyas and Paribhashas. Okay, and then the second pada of the first chapter begins with Atidesha. That is extending something to something else. Gankutadibhya, Anyin, Nit kind of thing. So these are necessary. That is, I define some basic set and then of course expand them in their scope for different situations. Okay. So that kind of Atidesha is in the Mimamsa also we have such a thing. Some Prakriti is defined. Then with some additions or modifications, some transformations, a lot more of them can be covered as a group with only specifying what is added or what is deleted from the base set. So that they are called Vikritis. From Prakriti, Vikritis are combined or connected by the concept of Atidesha. Prakritivat Vikriti Kartavya. Very simple thing is, Sandhya Vandana has to be done facing east, is the general statement. In the evening you face west. And someone says, this works for the rest of them except this change kind of thing. Okay, so the prakriya is not changed, prayoga is not changed. The Shruti says, Purvabhimukhaha sandhyayam gayatriya abhimamchitaha apu urdhvam vikshipanti. And then it initially talked about the Suryodaya situation. Okay, in the evening, that is you face the sun is another kind of thing. So this is Sandhya remains, the prayoga remains the same, but for these changes at these kind of conditions. Okay. So this is how something which is a full detail that is available. If in few cases certain things would change, only those changes can be listed, which will then mean you don't have to repeat this detail every time. So the Atidesha is the process used for such a thing, extending some given thing. And extensions can be complete, extensions can be in the form of exception also, and extensions can be partial. Okay, so this is how Atidesha Prakarana. Then of course the Swara Prakarana. Udatta, Anudatta, Surata, these are listed in the second pada. Uttairudata, Nijairudata, those come in the second pada of the first Adhyaya. Then Ekashesha is now trying to also see certain kinds of abbreviations like the Prathama in the Vibhakti, when we say it includes Ekavachana, Dvivachana, Bahuvachana. Okay. Similarly, Purusha, Prathama Purusha means. So you can group things to have one word defining a class or a group. Okay. So he makes some of this necessary for, let us say, the nouns, verbs as required later. So apart from Samnya Paribhashas, these are required for the operational power. So the second part has from the operational kind of guideline. Extensions, then the accent related rules, then the words that can stand in for many more of their category, group, etc. The third pada of course begins with formulating the abbreviation it samnya, so that with the it we can then use the abbreviations in the Maheshwara Sutra. So start with any beginning letter, go till the it or the last letter of any sutra. The in between letters mentioned in the sutras will be understood by this abbreviation. The first letter and ending up to it of a sutra in the Maheshwara Sutra. Like Ach. Ach is starting with I un, it goes up to I out. So A, I, U, R, L, A, O, I out. These are covered by this word called Ach. How to form them for that? He begins with this it samnya first. There is a samnya made for the last letters of the Maheshwara Sutras to become it. And then based on them, from any adihi antena ita saha madhyagana swasya samnya syat. So how he forms the samnyas also he has explained. So we can understand if there is, let us say, he uses a pratyahara called val. So val actually means in the sutra haya varat, you leave out haya, then start from vara onwards, it goes up to hal. So ha again gets included by the hal sutra. So except ya, all other consonants are covered by this pratyahara called val. Valadi ardha dhatuka said valade, one is going to use. Except ya, if a pratyaya is beginning with any other consonant, then that is called a valadi pratyaya. A pratyaya beginning with a consonant belonging to the group called val. How do you get that word val? You don't have to remember. You just go in the Paninians and after Maheshwara Sutra, start with va, wherever va occurs. In the Hayavarat Sutra, va occurs. Start from there. Keep moving forward till you encounter l. You encounter l only in the Hal Sutra. So all those in between, Yavara, Lan, Nyamanganana, Javan, Gadades, Javagades, Kapa, Jadate, Kapai, Shashasat, all these get covered. So how to form them and how to remember them easily. You don't have to mug up kind of. So the Itsamnya Prakarana helps us in formulating. There are some very rare cases where within the Paninian Sutras also some of the Pratyaharas are formed. Cringe is one kind of thing. Similarly, Tvi is the other kind. So he has used between the Sutra, starting from this letter of this Sutra, go till you get this letter in another Sutra. In the Nipatas also he has used this. Prag Rishwaran Nipataha, Prag Disho Vibhakti kind of thing. So start from now till you encounter this in the later Sutra. Those pratyayas that are being told in between, they share some property kind of. So these are covered. How to understand, how to formulate the abbreviations themselves are there in the Itsamnya Prakarana. After that, he then defines Atmanepada and Parsmepada changes. By default, in the Dhatu Pata, he has said each Dhatu has got certain Pada. That is, whether it is Atmanepada or Parsmepada. Of course, by the Pada, or of course, the Dhatu is called Atmanepadi, Parsmepadi. The property is Atmanepada, Parsmepada. Basically, is about who is the beneficiary of the action denoted by the verb. Okay. In the Vaidika Prakarana, it is always possible that somebody can do yajna for himself, or one can also officiate as a priest and do the yajna for someone else. Similarly, it is possible in cases where Someone has to do. Let's say somebody is very ill, he is not able to do Sandhyandanam. Dharma Shastras allow someone else to do on behalf of a person who is not able to, kind of thing. So in such cases, for self, you will be using certain suffixes. I am doing this for me to be the beneficiary. Whereas in the case of Parasmai, that is called Atmanepadi. Atmane, Swasmai, Phalam, Yatra Bhavati. That is called the Atmanepada. Same dhatus can also be used in some dhatus that way are called as Ubhayapadi. They can be used in either way. Some of course are fixed in the Atmanepadi, some others only in Parasmepadi kind of thing. So we can also have this default Parasmepada or Atmanepada of dhatus, and some are of course Ubhayapadis. So suppose we take these three. Some dhatus can have either the Parasmepada suffixes or Atmanepada suffixes, one alone or both. Among them, this is at the basic dhatu level. The dhatus, when they get upasargas added to them, that is, you add a pre-verb to the verb, that is some kind of a prefix to the dhatus to modify the meaning of the dhatu. There are basically three kinds of modifications to the dhatu meaning that is possible. Dhatu Dhatvardham badhate kaschite tam anuvartate tameva vishinashti anyaha upasarga gatis tridha. So upasargas are basically used for three kinds of effects to be got over the base dhatu meaning. If you have the dhatu like hrin harane, hri basically means take away, remove kind of thing. Whereas you add a as upasarga, then aharati means brings. Instead of taking away, bringing in. So the direction changes. Similarly, pariharati means you solve a problem or remove some defect kind of thing, which is not taking away the object but making a change in the object. Similarly, viharati is to play around, this derive pleasure. Samharati means to kill, okay, or destroy. So the hri dhatu, prahara, ahara, vihara, samhara, pariharavate. These are the examples given. Some dhatu with different kinds of suffixes added can have its base meaning, either it can get exaggerated. It may not have much effect. In some cases, with and without the upasarga, we don't see much difference. That is also possible. Jayate, prajayate. Maybe there is not much difference. At certain places, of course, prajayate is with an effect for the upasarga pura. We mean it or we may not. Okay, that is. So in that case, it just anuvartate. Base dhatu meaning is retained even with the upasarga. Of course, where there is an opposition, that is possible. Dhaturtam badhate kaschite. Vartate means exists. Nivartate means returns. Parivartate means rotates. That kind of. So they will change. So we can add upasargas. That is, you don't need thousands of dhatus. You need some minimal set of dhatus. But with the set of combination of upasargas, you can in effect have many more thousands of meanings created. So for them, the upasargas are listed. So in the upasargas, once they get added, the Atmanepada, Parasmepada can get changed. So for that sake, he has said, Parasmati dhatus with upasarga addition, when they change to Atmanepada, those are listed in this, the third pada of the first chapter under Atmanepada Prakarana. So these dhatus are by default Parasmepadi, but with the addition of upasargas, they change to Atmanepada. The other way is for the Parasmepada Prakarana. Atmanepadi dhatus, for example, Ramu dhatu, Ramate is the Atmanepadi. Vyang, Paribhyo, Ramaha. So if we, are, Pari, these three upasargas are added to this Ramu dhatu, it becomes Parasmepadi. Viramati, Aramati, Pariramati, kind of. Without the upasarga, it will be Ramate. Or with other upasargas, Sakam Ramate, Abhiramate, Anuramate, kind of, there it will remain. So these kind of changes are specified in the third pada, because that's quite an elaborate thing. There are in all about over 70 sutras which deal with different dhatus changing from Parasmepadi to Atmanepadi and vice versa listed in that pada. So it has totally 93 sutras. Ichumnya Prakarana is small, only initial 9 sutras, and after that Atmanepadi Prakarana maybe about 20, then the rest of them are Parasmepadi Prakarana. It's necessary at least to see where what to find in the Ashtadhyayi and how he organized. The Paninian system, this is necessary for the sake of anuvrittis. So that, previous sutra contains some word, he can also carry them over to subsequent sutra. So the arrangement also is important. The fourth pada of the first adhyaya has got the samnya prakarana. This samnya is different from the first pada samnya. That is, in the shastra he has used certain samnya. Here it is same set of elements can have different samnyas at different time. And most important there is about these avyayas. Avyayas, upasargas, nipatas, gatis, karma pravachaniya, etc. There is same set of pra, para, va, etc. They have multiple roles, multiple functional roles. So for them, he has then tried to organize them into different groups. And then says, if it occurs in this form, then take this as its meaning. Otherwise this, otherwise this. So this is something like a same set can have multiple designations, but one designation at a time. So for how to decide them, there of course he has organized them. The later rule will supersede the previous one, kind of thing. Vipratishethe param karyam, that is how he begins that pada. And he has listed all the avyayas. They generally want those which do not have multiple declensions, where do not have multiple forms. Like Subantas have 7 cases and 3 numbers each. And similarly verbs have 3 purushas and 3 persons but 10 lakaras, kind of. Those many kind of conjugations are not there in certain category of words. Those are called as avyayas. Avyayas or nipata. Upasargas also come under that list. So upasarga, nipata, avyaya, karma pravachaniya, these are the different names that he has used. They are used for different purposes. Okay? He makes them all ready before he goes with the word formation. And karaka prakarana is also included in this pada. The first fourth pada has 33 sutras that refer to the 6 basic karakas, and of course there are special types and special rules related to them. So the samnya prakarana here is about the word category samnyas, okay, whereas the initial part is the shastriya samnya. Okay, so the first chapter, that way if you see, is more a preparatory chapter for all those things that come later. The second chapter begins with the compound words. Okay. He also says, initially I have now talked about an individual single word and what all equipment tools required for you to handle them in my sutra. Then of course he in the second chapter says there could be multiple bases, multiple stems in a single word. You can have multiple pratyayas or multiple prakritis. So samasas are those which have more than one base or one suffix. Say for example, vijijnasasva is a word. Okay, in the Taittiriya Upanishad we see Bhrigu goes to his father Varuna and says, please teach me about Brahma. And he says, tapasa Brahma vijijnasasva. You desire to know well about Brahma through tapasya. Now this V is upasarga, jijnasasva is one word. The dhatu is just nya there. Nya, jnane or nya avagamane is the dhatu. There is jijnasa, one desiderative, desire to know. Plus there is a vidhi, vidhiling included onto them. So here you have a case of one base with multiple suffixes. But each of them, every suffix, every base brings in some meaning aspect. So the total meaning gets built up incrementally. There are also cases like Agna Vishnu, Indra Agni kind of thing where two devatas together are referred to by a single word. That is, their presence together is required, not alone. Kind of. So two bases and one suffix is possible. One base, two suffixes, it can be any n. So it could be basically n number of bases and n number of suffixes form words which are called as, where n is not one, are called as samasa. So samartha padavidhi, that is how it begins that. Samasas are listed in the first pada of the second chapter. It also continues in the second pada, because he makes a little distinction between the kinds of samasas. Like we have the tatpurusha, bahurihi, karmadharya, Dvandva, Avibhava, etc. Then there are also the samasas, there is other special type, it doesn't deal that here. Aluk samasa is other thing dealt in the 5th chapter later. Normally, samasas are characterized by a compound word will have a single suffix in the end. Compound words normally are used predominantly with nouns. Verbs are generally not called as compound verbs. Except when we use them with upasargas. Okay. So nouns are the ones which are most used for samasas. So in that case you will have like Ramakrishna, if you have the au as the pratyaya in the end occurs once. After the word Rama you do not have the pratyaya. Ramascha, Krishnascha, Ramakrishna, when we want to say, the suffix will come in the end once, kind of thing. Whereas there are also exceptions, there are types which later deals with them. So the samasas can have the second word coming first, etc. When you actually explain, like Purvottara, Uttara Purva, both are used. Uttara Purva Yoga, Aslesha Vinasha is used in the Brahma Sutra. Whereas Purvottara should be the way it should be used according to Panini. If two words are there, the one with the lesser number of letters should come first. Alpachkaram Purvam is Paninian thing. So Purva has two letters, Uttara has three letters, so Purva should come first. Generally in the Loka we use Purvottara. Whereas of course in the Brahma Sutras he used, Vyasa used Uttara Purva Yoga, Aslesha Vinasha. There is a special reason why he used and things like that. So in the Samasa Prakarana, Purva Nipata is one kind of process. Some cases where the second word or a later word is placed first in the Samasa. Panini also has in the Loka many such words used with Purva Samasa, Purva Nipata. That is why he said Mayura Vyamsakadi. Mayura Vyamsakadeshta is the Sutra. There is a Gana which lists all such words where the second word while explaining becomes the first word in the actual word that is used, like Mayura Vyamsaka, Vyamsakascha, aso Mayurascha, Mayura Vyamsakaha. That is the way it is used. Like it is the where the adjective should come and where the Visheshya should come. Generally, adjective comes first, and then like Ramakrishna can be, suppose it means either Rama or Krishna. Then Rama can be an adjective to Krishna is one possibility. Krishna is the adjective, but Rama comes first by Purva Nipata is also possible. Krishnaha Ramaha is the Vigraha, but you may still use the word Ramakrishna. Ramaha Krishnaha asti. That is fine. Ramaha Ramanaha, or one who is very pleasing. We are referring to Krishna there. So the normal order and where the order can be reversed in the samasas, these two are dealt with. The specialities among samasas, there is one thing called Ekashesha Samasa also, that also he takes care here. So, like Mata and Pita together are called as Pitarav. Mata cha Pita cha Pitarav. You don't have both the words, you can also have Mata or Pitarav, it's possible, but it can also be one of the words alone remaining, standing in for the other words. Such things are listed in the second pada. So, with some distinction in the way or the type of samasas, two chapters are, two padas are earmarked to discuss samasas, the compounding of generally nouns, nominal compounds. Then the third adhyaya, third pada, second adhyaya, third pada is fully about the seven vibhaktis of the Subhantas. So it has 73 sutras, Anabhihite, Karmani Dvitiya, like that it begins, and it goes for all the seven vibhaktis in which all situations they are used. And the vibhaktis, initially of course in the first adhyaya, fourth chapter, Karakas have been explained. Karaka Prakarana is already there in the fourth chapter of the fourth pada of the first chapter. There are 33 sutras which discuss different kinds of the base 6 Karakas. For them, a mapping is given in the Vibhakti Prakarana. To mean different Karakas, different Vibhaktis can be used, and it is basically a many to many mapping. There are 7 Vibhaktis, 6 Karakas, but the combination is many more. We even have 40, 50 varieties among them because of the different context in which they get used. And these sutras together, the 73 plus 33 of the Karaka Prakarana together, deal fully with how all to understand the Karaka or the intended relationship between nouns in a sentence, okay, or between nouns and verbs, verb of a sentence. Okay, so Vibhakti alone is there in one pada, that is the 2-3 pada. Then the second adhyaya, fourth pada is Ekavadbhava, Ardhadhatuka, Tyadesha, Lopa Prakarana. Then he of course begins with some of the lakaras. He starts working on the verbal formation. Once that we have this noun thing handled to some level, including the compound, then he moves over to the verbal formations. There again he divides the different lakaras. In Sanskrit we do not directly have just the tenses to go with the verbs. It's not only that past, present and future. Any verb can have multiple kinds of moods or tenses, and tense alone is also subdivided. Past is also subdivided, immediately 24 hours preceding, long before kind of, or very remote past kind of thing. Similarly future also. Anadyatana, Adyatana, that is how he uses the words. Adyatana is starting maybe midnight yesterday till midnight today. So this Adya is 24 hours duration. Adyatana, within that of course, with respect to the time a person is speaking, it could be before, it could be later. So Anadyatana Bhutakala is there, Anadyatana Bhavishyat Kala is there. Which means Adyatana, Bhuta and Bhavishya are also mentioned through different suffixes or different lakaras. Okay. So Panini has tried to make this kind of a further subdivision. So we have this lakara is the general word. Laha, karmanicha, bhavecha, akarmakebhya. Panini simply said, I will use variation of the consonant la. So that is how we have lat, lit, lut, lit, let, lot, then lung, ling, lung, ring. You add all the vowels to l and add ta first. Just 1 minute. Hello. சொல்லுங்க. இல்ல எல்லாம் பேமெண்ட் பண்ணிட்டா இல்ல அந்த 1 லட்சம் கொடுக்க வேண்டியது அந்த டாக்ஸ் பிடிச்சிட்டு பணத்தை பேமெண்ட் பண்ணிட்டா ஆயிட்டு புக்கெல்லாம் பத்தி தெரியல. The tenses are the moods also. For example, you order somebody to do something. We have this vidhiling which talks about mandatorily certain things to be done, and someone instructs, orders somebody. Similarly, praying to somebody is possible, wishing something. So these are the moods. Okay, it is moods and the tenses. Tenses with subdivisions together. The common word that Panini uses is just la, laha. Laha means they will have la in them. To distinguish them, he has used the ta for some, that is lat, lit, lut, rit, let, lot. They are called tit lakaras. T is the it in some lakaras. The others are called nit lakaras. Lung, ling, lung, ring. So we have up to 10. He has got 6 in the tit lakaras and 4 in the nit lakaras. La is used with some intervening vowel, and then of course some it, which could be either t or ng. This is how we try to put in the different tense variations, the temporal variation, the duration of interest. Similarly, the different kinds of aspects or the moods that someone wants to convey using the verbs. Okay. So that is how, that is called the lakaras in Sanskrit language. So among the lakaras, there is twofold grouping that Panini has made. One is called sarvadhatuka, the other is called ardhadhatuka. Sarvadhatuka refers to 4 lakaras: lat, lung, ling, and lot. These 4, lung of course is past tense, lat is the present tense, ling is of course the vidhiling, okay, that is to say something must be done. Then lot, may you do this kind of thing, or you wish something happen, you bless kind of thing. So these 4 are called as sarvadhatuka, and the other 6 are called as ardhadhatuka. Okay, and they have some difference in terms of the word formation. Okay, whether there will be guna, vriddhi or not, etc. These are the kind of the procedural difference among the formation of the verbal forms makes 2 kinds of groupings. One is called sarvadhatuka, other is ardhadhatuka. He defines those here: ardhadhatuka, niyama, etc. I wanted to get, sorry, how to reduce this thing? Can this go on to the top? Just was wanting to see if this could be fully seen. I'm not able to see this. The right side portion, okay. Ardhadhatuka, Pratyadesha Prakarana. Can this be moved up? Yeah. Yes, ardhadhatuka nimittaka prakatyadesha prakaranam. Yeah. Ardhadhatuka nimittaka prakatyadesha prakaranam, then lupta prakaranam. So for example, lit lakara is ardhadhatuka, ashirling is ardhadhatuka, rit, ring, etc. Those are ardhadhatuka. So how to form those verbal forms are listed in the 4th pada of the 2nd chapter. So the 1st and 2nd chapters are that way preparatory chapters towards what are basically called as Vidhi Sutras. That is, in the 3rd chapter onwards, he now comes up with the pratyayas, the different pratyayas that he is going to actually see get added to the various bases to form various words in a specified meaning. Okay, so it's basically semantic driven process of generating of the words of the language. So pratyayadhikara. Adhikara means jurisdiction. The 3 chapters, 3rd, 4th and 5th, are the basic content of the Shastra, for which the previous ones are preparatory and explanatory. Similarly, the later ones are combinatory. Okay, the sandhis, etc. are coming up from the 6th, 7th and 8th. Word level, sentence level, accents, all that. So the 3, 4, 5 are the main content, are the crux of the whole thing that Panini wanted to convey. So that is called the Pratyaya Adhikara. The Pratyaya Adhikara, we have third chapter fully dealing with Pratyayas to be added to Dhatus. Fourth and fifth chapters are Pratyayas to be added to Prachipadikas, are the nominal stems. So that is how he divides. Third Adhyaya is fully Dhatu Adhikara. So Dhatu Samjna Prayojaka Pratyaya Prakaranam. In the Pratyaya Adhikara we have Dhatu Samjna Prayojaka Pratyaya Prakaranam. Then Chilyadesha. So various kinds of the lakaras require different kinds of suffixes. So chli is one of them. That is the most complex lakara in Sanskrit. Lung lakara is the most. It has multiple forms. It is being used that way. So Panini has tried to fully cover most of the Vedic usages. They prefer lung rather than just lung. Abhavam is not used. Abhavat is not used. Abhut is used more. Abhut is lung. Abhavat is lung. Okay. So the Anadyatana, Adyatana difference, the Anadyatana, the one that is commonly used, is having multiple forms. So he deals with that in a good detail, and that's quite revealing to see the level to which minutely Panini has observed the forms and then tried to generalize them so that through one common procedure he will be able to keep track. There are actually 7 subtypes of Lung Lakara, which are all covered under this Chilyadesha Prakarana. And similarly, Vikarana Pratyaya, Ganas, are 10 groups. Okay, so each of those classes or the groups of dhatus are distinct by a set of suffixes called Vikarana Pratyaya. It is distinct for each Gana. Okay, so the Bhuvadi Gana has Shap, then Adadi Gana has got no suffix, but the suffix is actually called as 0 there, and 0 are of 4 types in Panini. So the Westerners call it as 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. He uses 3 lopas for pratyayas, then lup, slu and lup are the 3 words to distinguish between 3 kinds of lopas. Generally, lopa is the word used that can go across verbs or nouns. So in the case of across the bases are suffixes. So in the case of pratyayas, there are 3 kinds of lopa itself. The second gana also has lopa, third gana also has got lopa, but between those lopas there is a difference. In the Adadi Gana, there is just a lopa, there is no effect of this elsewhere, no side effect. The third Gana is called Juhotyadi Gana, that also has no Vikarana Pratyaya, but it makes the Dhatu get reduplicated. It will get Dhatu get Abhyasa, that is, Da is a Dhatu in the third Gana. Form will become Dadati. Though you do not have Vikarana Pratyaya added to this, because the dhatu belongs to the third gana, you are supposed to repeat the dhatu and then of course make some modification. So all dhatus, Juhoti itself, it is called Juhotyadi gana. Who is the dhatu, first of the third gana dhatu. But then who is done, then who changes to Ju, then it becomes Juhu, Juhoti, then it gets guna, becomes Juhoti kind of thing. So the Vikarana Pratyayas are listed. Each gana gets a unique Pratyaya called the Vikarana. And this Vikarana is related to the Gana. And there are some Antar Ganas also. If some big Gana is there, some Dhatus are grouped as a subset within that full Gana itself. Bhuvadi Gana has got maybe 15 or so, some sub Ganas within them. Avantara Ganas is what they are got. And in the Dhatu Pata there is some rule only related to from here to here, or these types are having this kind of that kind of various combination he has made. So the Vikarana Pratyaya Prakarana is part of the Pratyayadhikara, the first pada of the third. It has got 150 sutras, and this initially lists with the Tingantas. First 92 sutras related to Tingantas. Dhatu plus Ting, which is a verbal suffix. After that, what are called Krit Pratyayas are there. Krit are suffixes added to Dhatus, but the final word is a noun there. It is like all the functional designations of a person, let us say. Chaitraha Pachati. Pachati, when you say it is a verb. Pachan Chaitraha, that is cook. Chaitra as a cook. Chaitra is cooking is different from Chaitra is a cook. But the word cook comes from the dhatu to cook, Pacha dhatu to cook, so it denotes his activity also. It's not a name, but it is the functional designation. So you can have a noun, but it will still denote a verbal activity. Verb themselves, of course, they just denote the action itself. Action or the active object, that is the kind of distinction. So in the first pada we have both. Initially the tingantas related to pure verbs are covered, and after that krit pratyayas are dealt with. They finally get supratyaya added to them. So kridantas are all subantas in the end, but they begin with dhatu and not a pratipadika. That is the difference. So the first pada deals with the adhikaras, pratyayadhikara, and krit, it starts in the first pada, but krit continues in all the rest of the pada. Krit pratyayas are very rich in their meanings and very diverse in their application. So krit pratyayas, more than 130 pratyayas Panini has listed in the kridantas. So they are of course grouped differently, like krit pratyaya prakaranam, it starts off where it left in the first pada, second pada begins with that. It also continues with some subdivisions of them. Related to tenses also we can have the krit pratyaya, bhutarthaka krit pratyaya prakarana, then vartamanarthaka krit pratyaya prakarana, tachilaka krit pratyaya prakarana, kind of. That is, the suffixes can be used fully as a replacement to a verb itself. That is why Amarkosha defines a sentence. Sentence is not very easy to define, though of course there is an attempt made. He has tried to give sup tinganta chayo vakyam. Subanta chayaha, tinganta chayaha, sup tinganta chayaha. That is how the Vyakhya explained. You only can have tingantas together to form a sentence. Like pachati bhavati, jayate vardhate, upachiyate, apachiyate, vinashyati, kind of thing. You can have just the states mentioned and then the rest of it can be filled up. But that is very rare, not so common. Subantas and tingantas together, yes. One tinganta and some number of subantas is very predominant. But we can also have only subantas. Ramaha dasasasya putraha kind of sentence can be there, where there need not be a verb also. So he tries to deal with the krit pratyayas are helpful in making a dhatu implicit in the noun itself, so that you can even avoid an explicit use as a dhatu. So that way, dhatus are of course can be used with the upasargas and a number of meanings, and thousands of meanings are there. For all of them, equivalent krit pratyayas are also there. So Amarkosha said, suptinganta chayo vakyam kriyava karakanvita. Some kriya with a karakas related the functional designators, we can have a sentence. This can be called as a vakya. So the krit pratyayas are listed under various groupings semantically. First is tense related meaning, bhutarthaka krit pratyaya. Say simple things like gatavan. When you say aham gatavan, it is also equivalent to aham agacham. But this gatavan can have some more kinds of Visheshana is added as a noun, whereas in the case of verb, to add a Visheshana will become difficult. It's not very straightforward, it's not very simple. That is the reason one can prefer kridantas if you would like to have either, if you would like to have compounds or if you would like to have multiple properties or adjectives to be added. So it's as good as the kridantas are tingantas with a provision or a handle for adding adjectives or qualifiers kind of thing. Okay, so whatever can be added as an adjective, those meanings are all grouped with different kinds of suffixes. These dhatus take this suffix in this meaning kind of thing. So bhutarthaka is one, vartamanarthaka is another. Tachilaka, that is somebody is intensely doing something, somebody is an expert at doing, okay, repeatedly doing something. So tadeva sheelam tasya, this is the profession, this is the speciality, expertise kind of thing. So different kinds of meanings, and for them different suffixes are listed. Third pada also continues with the krit pratyayas of bhavarthaka krit pratyaya. See, for example, if you have chaitraha swapiti, means he is sleeping. Chaitra is sleeping. Chaitrasya swapaha, the sleep of chaitra. Now sleep is the state equivalent of the act. The activity is sleeping. Sleep refers to the state in which the person, the agent of that activity is in. Okay, like jnanam, janati, these two things. The result of the activity janati is jnanam. So if the phala of the vyapara is treated as a person, that is, you treat it as a noun, then that is called the bhava. Okay, so bhava karmanoha is what Panini generally uses. We can have swapa is a sthanam, means actually standing. Tishtati is the kriyapada, whereas sthanam, Tasya sthanam mam badhate. This person is standing in front of me and it's irritating me, kind of thing. Now, sthanam can be used in that sense of the state of standing. Okay, the state of sleeping is sleep, kind of. So, similarly, those are the bhavarthaka. You can form any finite verb into the state form, state equivalent. It becomes a noun. So, then you can add a number of adjectives to that. So, this bhavarthaka krit pratyayas are listed in the third pada, beginning onward. Then kalarthaka pratyaya. So, there are things like which are mandatory to be done, which have to be avoided, etc. So, kal is again some set of suffixes initially listed. So, kalarthaka, they are also used in the tadjitas later. So, you would like to say karaniyam, gamaniyam, alokaniyam, kind of thing. So, tavya, aniyar, these kind of them. So, those are the kalarthakas. Similarly, lakararthas then. He gives the meanings of the different lakaras. All the 10 lakaras in which all situations they could be used. So, this lat, lit, lung, etc. The general sloka, if people remember, lat vartamane, let vede, bhute, lung, lang, litastatha, vidhyashishostu, ling, lotau, ling, lutau, lut, bhavishyati. So, this is a general compressed way of saying the whole thing, but there are a number of sutras, about 40 sutras, which deal with the different meanings in which the different lakaras can be used. So this pada, actually third chapter onwards, if you see the number of sutras are more. First pada has 150 sutras, second 188, third 176, fourth of course 117 sutras. Because this begins with the Vaidika Prakarana here, particularly the Twa Pratyaya, Tumun Pratyaya, etc. Those are all listed. So Vaidika Pratyaya, then Twa, Namul Prayoga, then Akyata Pratyaya. So the dhatu related suffixes are grouped into multiple kinds of semantic varieties, and within them, of course, the variations, options, choices, and of course certain special conditions are all listed in this chapter. So fully dhatu related word formation, be it a verb or a noun, is covered in the third chapter. Okay, so this is generally called dhatu adhyaya. Though pratyadhikara dhatoh is what is the next adhikara sutra. Then of course krid ating, it says krits are those which are not ting. So you can have two groups of suffixes getting added to dhatu. Ting group of them, they make tingantas. The krit is they are mutually exclusive. So to the same dhatu, either you can apply ting or krit. And in some cases, of course, very rare cases, krit is not there. Very few dhatu. But anyway, these two classification, and in the krit set, we have very rich form of meanings, varieties of meanings possible to be formed. So we have this third chapter fully devoted to the dhatu pratyayas, dhatu related, dhatu adhikare pratyaya, dhatu sambandhe pratyayaha. Yeah, that is the sutra. Dhatu sambandhe pratyayaha. The common word he used is connected to dhatus. I am giving you pratyayas in this chapter. So some are things which make them verbs, and the others are krit which makes them nouns. That is the way the third chapter is divided. Fourth and fifth are for the nouns. And there, of course, the fourth chapter begins with the three pratyayas. That is, the pratipadhikas generally are formed from the dhatu. And then you can add some special suffix to denote these are feminine forms. Otherwise, by default, they will be either pullinga or nupunsalinga. For them, no special pratyaya is added. Whereas for three, making strilinga, three pratyayas are added. There are totally 8 pratyayas in the three pratyayas, but only 3 endings are possible. A, E, and U ending pratyayas are only there in the strilinga. So the base form will be akaranta. It could be akaranta pullinga, nupunsalinga. The moment a three pratyaya is added, tap or chap is used for akaranta. So the distinction is in the accent. Similarly, there are for the ikar also, neep, neen, and nish. There are 3 pratyayas for making ikaranta strilinga. But again, the accent is different. Ajudata and todata different. Similarly, is the kind of pratyaya. So we have 8 total pratyayas, but making only 3 kinds of ending, and rest of them among the consonants, there are only some special rules. Which there is no special general. There is no general pratyayas to get added for the strilinga. One of these are again added back there also. So that way, it begins with the 3 pratyayas among the nouns. Then, of course, goes with, we have the famous sutra, Suaujas, Samauchas. It is there in the fourth pratyaya, first pada. So, Striyam, when he says, then after that, Nya Pratipadhikat, after that, Suaujas, Samauchas, Tabhyam, Visnebhyam, that sutra. Then after that, of course, the different kinds of Tadhita. Tadhita is one cover term for huge variety, large variety of relationships among nouns. Okay. Tasmai hitam tadhitam, tatta hitam tena hitam, various. Tadhita itself has been described differently because so many kinds of meanings are put together. It's difficult to remember all the individual meanings in which things are used. Even the groupings are done sometimes based on number of pratyas rather than individual pratyas. There are totally 410 sutras that deal with individual pratyas for the Tajita category. Okay. So some of them are, the first thing is about apatyadi sadharana pratyaya prakaranam. Apatyam means offspring, son or daughter. Okay. So to denote somebody's son or somebody's daughter, you need, that is from the ancestors, the descendants are to be described as their offsprings or their issues. Most of the Gotra names are derived from these suffixes. So you have Bhargava is possible, kind of, Kaushika is possible. So there could be a person called Kusha, maybe his son would become Kaushika, this is possible. Similarly, multiple names like Vasishtha from Vasishtha, Vaishwamitra from Vishwamitra, kind of. So those are all apatyarthaka pratyaya, sadhita pratyaya. Apatya meaning son or daughter. Okay. Tasya apatyam, puman va, stri va, like that. So apatyadi sadharana pratyaya. These are generic. They can be applied to a large number of bases. Certain others, of course, are only defined to certain words. Only these words can be used with these suffixes. That is why the Ganapata is to be read along with Tadhita pratyaya. There are totally 255 Ganas listed by Panini, varying number of elements, 20 to maybe even some contain 150 elements. Kind of. So totally around 500 words or 5,000 words are listed in those 250 Ganas. And each Gana is related to certain kind of suffixes. These elements of this list take this suffix in this meaning. That is the way. So that list is required, these pratyas are required, and in which meaning you want to denote, then you choose the appropriate one. There are multiple choices for the same meaning also at places. So tadhitas are tough generally, whether it is prakashaka or prakashika or prakashikli kind of thing, whether it should end in E or A. Yes, there can be sometimes, it's quite difficult to decide, or multiple ways people use also. Tadhita mudho vayyakaranaha is one statement. Somebody who is not good at Tadhita pratyas, their meanings, their choice, their relationships. In fact, there is also a problem between the applicability. There are multiple things applicable to the same set, but which is earlier, which is later. This kind of, the position of the sutras are also important to decide which supersedes what. So generally Tadhitas are complex to remember and formulate, but they have multiple usages. Most of the Upanishads contain what are called Vamsha, that is the listing of the set of the Guru Shishyas who followed various different Vidyas or different kinds of mantras. So it says it is important to know who got it from whom. So this Acharya Parampara is generally full of this Tadhita Pratyaya, Tadhita words. That is how Panini gave so much importance and did not want to leave out even in a single word. Many of those words are not in use today, but still they are necessary because this is a Vedanga. In Vedas, when there is some word occurring, we should have a way of understanding the process of their formation. So as a Vedanga, that's how Panini included. Today, most of the Tadhitas may not be as required to form new words, but they are necessary to understand the existing words of various shakas. So that's how the Apatya Prakaranam, the first pada of the fourth chapter, this also is quite a big chapter, 178 sutras in the first pada. Generally the Apatyadi meanings are taken. Then Raktadhyatikarana. So these are just to say in the process, let us say someone applies dye to certain objects and then makes them get colors. So Tena Raktam Ragat. So this is just in that meaning we use some word kind of. So that's how. They are similarly Chaturarthika. There are 4 different kinds of meanings in which, of course, we have listed for each one of them. All the 410 meanings are difficult to list out individually, but there are again groupings. These 4 meanings together are taken as one prakarana. That is, they have some similarity of the process applying. Similarly, Shaishika prakarana, whatever is left out of this, so Sheshak. So this is how even the names sometimes suggest there is a wide variety which simply cannot be individually covered, but we will not be able to also get an idea as to what all are covered. So the covered terms sometimes are not very suggestive. Similarly, Vikararthaka Prakarana. Vikara again could be of very multiple types. See, Vikara because of time possible. There are different seasons, different things, things change based on the seasonal property, that is possible. And the age of the person, his own Satvika, Raj, Tamsa, etc. Any Vikara on a given nominal stem will get different words based on the suffix added. So, such Vikararthaka, for example, Vikara, Mrudo Vikaraha Mrunmayam, kind of thing. So we have this mayat as a pratyaya used to denote vikara. Whereas in the case of Anandamaya, whether it can denote vikara, so those kind of discussions, no, this can also have multiple connotations, or for certain dhatus in certain sense only this can be. Those kind of description is found in the Tritiya Pada. It's all about the Vikararthaka Pratyayas in the fourth chapter, third Pada of the fourth chapter. Similarly, Thak is a Pratyaya. So it's simply called as Thakadhikara. There are a number of cases to which this applies. So maybe say 50, 60 sutras dealing with Thak is applied to this members of the Ganas. Take this Ganapata, various Ganas are there, take every word of them. There are common and special rules for them. So these are put together, okay, that section will be simply called as those words from the Ganapatas which take Thak as the Pratyaya. Pragvahate Thak, that is how he begins. And this is going up to Tena Tam Vahati. Then after that, Praghitiya, again, Hita, Tasmai Hitam. So that Hitarthaka are called Hitiya. Then before the Hitiyas, it is from Tak up to the Hitiya beginning, then till the next set of meanings come. That is called Cha Yad Vidhi. Cha is one Pratyaya, Yat is another Pratyaya. See, wherever we have, let's say, 50 or more sutras, then generally this is taken as one subsection for the ease of at least remembering what all kinds of Pratyayas occur. It's difficult to fully list. There is of course a full Pratyaya Kosha which has been written by a good scholar earlier, and we can use them. Database is much easier to take up. But generally what do they deal with as an overview? This is like there are different nominal properties which are useful as adjectives described in this under various grouping. Okay. The grouping could be just lexical level, it could be simply at the syntactic level also. And definitely they are stemming from semantic difference. And semantics may not be as many, whereas there are so many pratyayas and so many special conditions, and so sutras are more. You may have more than 1,000 sutras among Prathita Pratyaya. So that is why I have just tried to give. This is based on the Kaumudi's classification. So this is something which is prevalent, so that people can be trying to say, okay, in this section, or this pada, this set is what we are talking about. Cha vidhi, yad vidhi, then arhiya prakarana, tad arhati, one who deserves something. Then which deserves what? There is a set of rules, 30-40 sutras, so that will be called as arhiya prakarana. Similarly, bhava karmarthaka pratyaya prakarana. We had them in the case of verbs as Krit pratyayas in third chapter, the bhava karmarthaka. Here we have in the case of nouns themselves. Okay. Bhavarthaka, karmarthaka pratyayas. So this is how, this has 136 sutras, which means, okay, roughly if you have 3 or 4 prakarana in that pada, is roughly divided among, say, 40 to 50 sutras forming one kind of a chunk. Okay. But they are also related. Panini has put them in such a way, if there is something related, it gradually goes from various number of meanings. This is taken first, that is exhausted, then next is taken like that. So similarly in the second chapter, second pada of the fifth chapter, Panchamika Prakarana. There are certain things, of course, there is also one kind of avya that he lists in this, some vibhaktis, this and the next pada, Panchamika Prakarana. Then there are 5 different kinds of meanings. He says, okay, this, or this, and together. Even the word like Indriya, for example, Indriyam is from Indriyam, Indra Dattam, Indra Kastam, Indra Dattam, Indra Sistamitiva. So you can have multiple meanings in which the word Indriya can be formed from the base Indra. But then you should be clear in which meaning are you using, in which place, kind of thing. So that's how there are multiple varieties or options possible for someone to choose. To be very appropriate, one has to be very thorough. What are all the sutras, which applies to what all set of words as listed in the Ganapata. So this is fully to be read along with the Ganapata, so that for these Ganas, this Pratyaya is used in this meaning. That is how the sutras generally are formed. Then Matvathiya Prakarana, that is an important thing. That is, one has something. This is basically how adjectives are formed. See, somebody having Tejas is called Tejasvi. Having Brahmavartas is called Brahmavartasi, kind of thing. So those are called Matvathiya. Matup is the cover term. That is generally Sriman, Goman, Aviman, when we say Srimati, Gomati, etc. That Matup is the pratyaya that Panini used. Tat asya asmin asti iti Matup. So some property is there in some object is to be denoted. Such a set of pratyayas are called as Matup pratyayas, and there are 12 basic divisions. That's how each one of them gets a special prakarana among them. Matvarthiya prakarana. Matup is the meaning. He has this. Dandi, Kundali kind of thing have got in as the pratyaya. In has got the Matubartha. That is, one has this. Kind of. So similarly, that one itself can be there. Man is there, one can be there. Where ma changes to va, etc. Those are listed by him. Then the third pada of the fifth chapter begins with what are called as Tadhita Vibhaktis. In the Astajaya, we have three kinds of vibhaktis. One is Subh Vibhakti, that is Subantas having Prasamata Saptami Vibhakti. Then the Tingantas having the Purushas are also called as Vibhaktis. That is the Ting Pratyayas, all the 10 lakaras, they are treated as, they are again tables, different Purushas, different Vachanas and different lakaras, and maybe together Parasmaya and Atmanipadi. So up to 180 forms are possible. But those suffixes are called as Ting Vibhaktis. So we have Subh Vibhakti and Ting Vibhakti dealt with earlier in the second chapter itself. Whereas in the fifth chapter here we have Tadhita Vibhakti. I think 46 sutras are there from the beginning. Prag Disha Vibhakti is the first sutra of fifth chapter, third pada. Then it goes on to say what we now have as Yada, Kada, Tada, etc. Yatha, Tatha, Idanim, Tadanim. So those kind of words, these suffixes are all under the Tadhita category. They are avyayas anyway. So the avyaya vibhaktis are the Tadhita vibhaktis are listed in this Purastad, Avastad kind of thing. Va, Iha, etc. These are all Tadhita pratyayas added to some sarvanamas, or that is the pronouns get some Tadhita suffixes added to become what are called vibhaktis. They are of course avyayas. So Pragjasha Vibhakti, Kim Sarvanama Bahubhyaha Advyadibhyaha is the next sutra. Then they apply to Kim as that is the pronoun, questioning pronoun Kim, Kaha, Ka, Kim, etc. Similarly, Sarvanamas, all the Sarvadi Gana. Okay. Then within them, of course, some are excluded, Advyadibhya. To numbers, of course, this is not applicable. So excepting the ordinal numbers which are part of the Sarvadi Gana. For the other pronouns and the word Kim, you can add some of the suffixes to make them avyayas, and those are called Tadhita Vibhakti. So Vibhakti Samnyaka Pratyaya Prakaranam. Then of course Atishayanika Pratyaya. This Matubartha itself has multiple subdivisions. Bhuma, Ninda, Prashamsa, Samsarga, Atishayana. So Matubadaya Asti Vivakshayam Bhavanti Matubadaya. So you can have some Atishaya, some extolling the virtues of certain thing. The Matub can be used. See, Buddhiman generally does not only mean one who has got Buddhi. Any living being has got Buddhi. So there the Matup has a meaning. He has got some Prasasta Jnana. So Atishayanika is something which is very laudable, something that is great. Though someone says he is having this, the intention of saying that he has this is that he is having it in a very appreciable form kind of thing. So that meaning is called as Atishayanika. Atishaya is the word. One which gets the Atishaya because of some guna. Those suffixes which denote such state are called Atishayanika. Matub has got one such meaning. Sriman just does not mean having money. Having maybe the well-earned money or dharmika kind of thing, or having audarya can be included into that Srimatva. That becomes Atishayanika. So he has said that the different suffixes and different bases which go with them. So these ganas and these pratyayas are put together in this pada. So Vibhakti Samnyaka and then Atishayanika, these are there in 119 sutras. And the fourth chapter of the fourth pada of the fifth chapter has Swarthika Pratyaya Prakarana. In some cases the suffixes, like in the case of Upasargas also, they may not add any special meaning. But they are used maybe by Rudi in some case. In some case, for the need for, let us say, the Chandas and all that, you need to have 3 letters. You have a base word with 2 letters. Add pra or visa or something to that. So that Nata and Vinata do not have a difference. But if you want to have 3 letters, you can have Nata replaced by Vinata kind of. One who is bent, one is going down, or one is ashrita, or one who is humble, kind of. So that way it is swarthika are which do not have any very special purpose, are not much different from the base meaning itself. And many such things are required for such usage in the literature. Swarthika pratyaya prakarana. So in swartha you can like balayava balakaha. I said that kapratyaya can be used in swartha. Kapratyaya also has special meaning. This reduced effect can also be used by ka. Then both will not be similar. Vatsayava vatsakaha is not done. That which is just a shishu is called as vatsaka, tarnaka. Then of course it becomes vatsa itself. But this kapratyaya can be both used in swartha or in a specific meaning. Okay, so the swarthika meaning, base meaning itself is retained, nothing much added. So which all can be used in what senses, etc. That's so the swarthika pratyayas are described in this. Then samasanta pratyayas, those are important. This of course very effective in this case. Particularly in the Vedas we have multiple devatas becoming the uddesha of some homa, yaga, etc. Like Agna Vaishnava, Indra Agna. Okay. So you have Indra and Agni together. You have to give the havis to both, not individually, to the two of them. So then the samasanta pratyaya, initially you form the samasa of the words, then in the end of the samasa pratyaya is used. There again swaras are involved and there could be vriddhi, etc. coming in the beginning, in the middle, end, etc. So those are dealt with. Samasanta pratyaya prakarana. So this is how the fourth and fifth chapters are noun related suffixes. So tadhita suffixes, and then tadhita, of course the three pratyas are not tadhita generally. So excepting a few in the first pada initially, after that we have tadhita adhikara beginning. Fourth and fifth chapters by and large are tadhita prakarana. So different sets of meanings can be brought about by the suffix addition. So now this was the main purpose. First two chapters prepared people gave various tools and then various ways of handling them, and of course the semantic meaning, the vibhakti karakas give you the purpose. Now after these three chapters of pratyayas, then we go with using them or forming them to have, let us say, sentences or things like that. So there we have the processes which will lead to sandhi towards the end. Okay, so that is raw words are formed from the previous, that is you have the base and the suffix chosen based on the semantics required. Then to finish off the word formation, multiple processes are required. Those are described in 6th, 7th and 8th chapters. In the 6th, of course, dhatu dvitva prakarana, that is the litlakara takes the duplication of the dhatu, and all the sanantas, that is desiderative forms. See, gachati is to say somebody is going. Somebody wants to go, so the desire to go is jigamisha. Gachati becomes jigamishati. Vakti or vadati becomes vivakshati, desires to speak. So jayati becomes jigishati. Jayatum icha jigisha. Martum icha mamursha, kind of thing possible. So in dhatu dvitva occurs in places where there are some special meaning additions, meaning changes are required in the words, but they apply to both dhatus and pratipadika. Dhatu dvitva is taken up first, sarvasya dve, that is how the 6th chapter begins. All dhatus will have a second form. Then how to control them? Of course he says if it is not done already, it belongs to this, only this kind of. Then finally he just reduces them to where we require them, where this come in different form. Then the samprasarana prakarana. These are the lexical processes. Like we have the end sandhi, we are, let's say, e, u, r, changes to ya, va, ra, la when a vowel is following. That is called yan. Ikaha sthane yan syat achi pare. The reverse is there. Yan changes to ik. That is called samprasarana. Ik yana samprasaranam. So like you have the dhatu, kr as the dhatu becomes karoti. Okay, it gets the end first. Whereas in the case of the ardha dhatukas, kriyate. So that kr becomes kriyate. That ikara now comes up instead of the yakara which was there. So similarly, ra changes to r, l changes to la changes to l. So from vowel to consonant was the yan. The reverse direction is from the consonant yavarala back to the swaras ivu rul. It's called samprasarana. These two are reversible processes. Yik jana samprasaranam, that's so upon listed. So samprasarana is required in some cases. So that is how some words when we use, for example, dadhati is the form from root dha. Okay. Whereas in the karmani prayoga or in the bhava prayoga, hita is the word. Vidadhati, vihita is the form. This dha changes to hi, dadhat, hihi is the kind of. So the samprasarana equivalent is that the dhatu changes to vowel based and maybe a shortened. Samprasarana generally means shortening. So it actually reduces the thing that got added during end. So if sandhi produces something, samprasarana takes that away. So these are listed. Dhatu dvitva samprasarana as a process. Then atva prakarana. Various dhatus take a in the end. And after that, of course, like a, o, I, o ending dhatus are initially converted to a ending and then suffixes get added to them, etc. So this atva, achsandhi. Then of course we have 6172 is the famous eco-energy sutra. And generally used in examples, so people are at least heard of, known. Achsandhi is taken up. So it begins with eco-energy. Of course it goes on up to savarna dirgha. You have yan, guna, vriddhi, savarna dirgha. Because it is in that order, the later one will supersede the previous one. So if something is fit for the savarna dirgha, it won't take the previous stages kind of. That is, E and E together need not be considered at all. Because generally Pani said, ikaha achi pare. So ik, for example, Ibu rule, if it is followed by Ibu rule itself, what happens if someone would ask? He doesn't have to stop that here. By this rule, suppose you would like to see E followed by E itself as an ach. You want to replace that with ya. Fine, at this stage it may be allowed, but there is a later rule which also takes these two together. Aka savarne dirgha. So because these two are savarnas, then this will be superseded by the later sutra. Just by the arrangement of rules, he doesn't have to put in extra conditions. So in the Achsandhi, this is how, of course in the Achsandhi the rule is, if multiple rules apply, the later one prevails and only that will be, only one rule will be effective. So by the paribhasha, we are able to handle the ambiguity is possible in case if that was not there, if the paribhasha is not there. So Achsandhi is taken up. Then of course there is Sudagama. See, in some cases sa gets added in between. Vi plus kira is there. Vikira is also one word. Vishkira is also another word. Yaha plus kaha, yahkaha is possible, yaskaha is possible. So that is how he has used the sakara coming in between is called sut is the word. Agama, sut comes as an addition or augment. We were saying about agama pratyaya adesha in the Upadesha. These are the kind of agamas. So sudagama. Tate karoti, tat plus kara, tatkara becomes taskara by sudagama. So that is how such words are all used and these are of course listed out. Then towards the end of this first pada, sixth chapter, first pada is the biggest in terms of number of sutras in Ashtadhyayi, 223 sutra. The last portion, 6.1, 158 onwards is the Swara Prakarana. That is Udatta Anudatta Swarita Swara Prakarana. That runs through the full second chapter of second pada of sixth chapter, 199 sutras, simply Swara Prakarana. So where Udatta, where Anudatta, where Swarita, and for nouns, verbs, kind of thing, samasas and all that. So this is so important. That's what he has tried to give important. There is also a sandhi of the swaras given by Panini separately. That is the Udattadi Swara Sandhi also. This Sandhi initially is only about the Varnas. Ach Varnas having Sandhi, Ach existing on both ends. There is RHS and LHS. Whereas the Udattadi Swara Sandhi also is part of the Swara Prakarana, but that is taken up later. There is one more Samhitaya used by Panini. Here there is Samhitaya, then Eko Anachi. Samhitaya means when continuously uttered. There is another Samhitaya for Udatta Anudatta Swarita Sandhi. Then towards the end, they also have in the 8th chapter Vyanjana Sandhi also, Tayor Vacha Samhitaya. So that is Hal Sandhi. So we have Achsandhi, Hal Sandhi and Udatta Sandhi. Three places Panini has used Samhitaya. And this is very elaborate, the Swara Prakarana. That's one of the major reasons as a Vedanga. It fully explains the various words found in different chakas, the varieties of them, etc. Then the third pada begins with Aluk Prakarana. This is what is one kind of samasa I was just mentioning earlier. Samasas generally lose suffix of the earlier bases. See, if you have Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugnaha, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, those three bases will not have any suffix. In the end, Shatrugnaha, if you use that Bahuchana, just can be used. So just is the Prasama Bahuvachana suffix. It is added in the end, it comes only one. So this is general in case of all samasas. The previous constituent basis will not have suffixes. A compound word is counted as one word only because it has one suffix in the end. Okay. Whereas there are samasas where the in between words retain their vibhakti. That is called aluk prakarana. Luk means lopa. When there is no lopa of the pratyaya. For example, kanthe kalaha is one word. Yudhishthira is another word. Yudhi is Saptami vibhakti of the word yut. One who is firm in the war. That's what it means. Yud is the best, it will change to yut if sa comes later. Actually, yut sthiraha should have been the normal form of the samasa. That is, it should have lost, the word yudha should have lost its pratyaya. Only sthira should have had. Thus, in this word we still have. But we also have, if you watch earlier, this Atmanepada, Parasmapada word also, he has also made a sutra for that. Vyakaranakhayam taturchaha in the aluk samasa prakarana. Some samasas do not lose their suffixes of the previous basis also. Under the list for the Vyakarana Samnya, Atmanepada, Parasmapada, it is not called Atmapada, Parapada, it is called as Atmanepada, Parasmapada only. Though the base is only Atman and Para, that should not have had any suffix. So, by default it should have been Atmapada or Parapada. So, Para becomes Parasmai because it is a Sarvanama Shabda. Atman of course becomes Atmane and Chaturthi. Though it is a compound word, it has retained Stambhe Ramaha, those are kind of words. There are many. In every vibhakti there are Purandaraha. Purandara also, Puradara should have been the word. Puram is Dvitiya suffix retained there. So Tritiya is retained in some cases like that. So every vibhakti can have the lopa in some samasas under some conditions. Those are listed under the aluk prakarana. Actually, in fact, this should be part of a type of samasa itself, aluk samasa. Anyway, this is put separately by Panini towards as a process, he said, some cases where the default process does not work, and there are special cases. Similarly, Pumvad Bhava Prakarana, like, when we said Mata to Pita to Pitaro, and so Pumvad Bhava, as though it is a masculine, certain words, the combinations lead to only a masculine form, in some cases like that. So those are dealt with. Then, Uttarapadika Adesha Prakaranam. Uttarapada is the second or the later word in a samasa. Purvapada and Uttarapada is how we divide the basis of a compound word. Based on the Uttarapada, Uttarapada can get some adesha based on that the word formation and accent will change. So, these, for example, you have Uttarayanam, where we have the Ayana becoming Ayana, that is not changing to Na, because there is a Refa in the previous word. Generally, same word, if it contains Refa, Na will change to Na is the rule. So, we have this is in the Uttarapada changes its, because of its adesha, it changes its form. So, these kind of things are dealt in. Okay, so, the third chapter, third pada basically deals with some processes which are dealt with samasas not losing suffixes, then some samasas getting only masculine form in the end, though the components can be in other genders. Right? And similarly, the Uttarapada bringing in changes to the whole word, maybe in gender, maybe in the form or accent. So, these are there, the sixth chapter, third pada. Fourth pada is called, from there it begins as Angadhikara. Anga is one concept Panini brought in to say something towards the left side. Like this is necessary because suppose we have the dhatu bhu, then this dhatu bhu we want to form it its present tense form. Then the tinganta we would like to have in the latlakara, then ti has to be added because this belongs to the bhadigana. You need to add a vikarna pratyaya, that is called shap. Bhu plus shap plus tip. This is what we would like to add. So when you add shap to bhu, then it becomes, there is a pratyaya, there is a dhatu. Then after the bhu plus shap are getting added, it becomes of course bhu plus a. Because there is a pratyaya following, there will be some guna, adesha pratyaya gunaha, bhu will become bho, then bho plus a will become bhav, then bhav plus a is bhava, then you add ti. Now when the ti is added as a pratyaya to bhava, it is not dhatu now, it is dhatu plus vikarana. But the pratyayas have to be added to dhatus. So to see that such a situation is handled well, Panini brought in a concept called anga. Anga is the left side. Yasmat pratyaya vidhi tadadi pratyaya angam. So there is a pratyaya vidhi towards some string of letter. Then beginning from that full string will be called as anga. It need not be fully dhatu. That is what he means. So to the angasya is the adhikara he meant. So it is at intermediate stages of formation of a word. The LHS would be called as anga. So to the left side, when you keep on adding, like, and you said vijijnasasva, nya, then sun is added, it becomes jijna, then jijnasa, and after that vidhiling is added, swa. So jijnasasva, when you form, not only nya is used in every case. Nya is dhatu. These pratyayas are defined for a dhatu, but not directly to the dhatu. They can be with a modified stage of the formation of the word of the dhatu. That should also be treated as dhatu. But there will be confusion, so he coined a new word. Work in progress kind of situation where the anga is the designation. This will keep on dynamically changing. Initially we had one element, added the pratyaya to that. Together that became the anga. Then you add the third one. If there is a fourth one to add, the first three together will become anga. Like that. And if there is an upasarga that will get added, that also will be part of the anga. So the angadhikara is necessary for systematic step-by-step generation of words. This is quite a big adhikara, quite a few hundreds of sutras under this. So when the words are formed, even in the case of nouns, this is necessary. So angadhikara, within that asiddha kanda, bhadhikara. So there is some concept, maybe today it's getting late. I will just deal with maybe one more session I will take on the Vyakarana part. That is the structural part description plus of course the semantic. This we will cover next time maybe. Yeah, this asiddha kanda is, there is one concept called siddha asiddha which we need to also understand a little more in detail. Then of course the karaka of their meanings I would like to also cover a little more. Okay, so maybe today I will stop here. And then we will continue in the next class, Vyakarana portion itself. And this file anyway has been shared, so I hope people are able to use that kind of thing. Yeah, so, yeah, can we close or any questions, any observations?
I think this is a rather very technical session.
Yeah, this is important just to know the level of complexity one. Level of meticulousness of Panini. This is more to appreciate that. That's the whole idea. It's not simply that people appreciate Ashtadhyayi. It has got so much of detail covered and so nicely covered or maybe so systematically replicable. So it has become almost impersonal. That is, we don't need Panini. There is no need for a person to stand there and interpret. He has given something which is self-contained. Okay? That is the thing. Anyway, I am just wanting to see that at least, Panini's grammar's speciality should be at least in 10 words, 20 words someone should be able to put out, and without repetition then someone can pick up from any of those. So from that point I was just trying to cover. Okay. Yeah, so the next time anyway I will wind this up plus of course the relevance and how it helps kind of the meaning things like that. And of course Mahavashya has mentioned among Vedangas, Vyakarana is the most important. Mukham Vyakaranam Smrtam. So that's why we spent a little more time on this.
Sure, sir, sure. It's really very, adbhut that, you are able to.
Just to bring together in one place, I am just putting this effort. Each one is, of course, a full session on their own, but we need to know what to look for where. The basic question today is to have a map in the mind clearly. See, I was told landscape, so in any landscape, you need to have a map in mind and you are here. That is what it is. So from wherever you are, wherever you want to reach, how do you go, how do you navigate? Maybe that is the thing.
Yes, sir. I think that's very well put, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.